Well, welcome back to math class. Today will be one of our last lessons. It's called the area of trapezoids and kites. We've talked about trapezoids a little bit in math class. We know that a trapezoid has to have one set of parallel lines. As we can see, these two lines here would eventually intersect. So this is called a trapezoid. Here we have a picture of a kite. A kite, sometimes people will think of it as a diamond. A kite, if you notice, has two sides that are a little bit longer but the same length, and two sides here that are shorter but they are the same length. To find the area of these shapes, you have to use a formula, and the formula is a little bit farther down here. It's way down here for a trapezoid. It's kind of a long one, and it's basically the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 times the height times the base, but we have to add two of the bases together, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So let's go up here. If you have a highlighter, at this time it would be a good time to take one out. So if you need to pause the video so everybody can get a highlighter, please do that. So with our highlighter, whenever we look at the area of a trapezoid, the first thing we have to do is we have to find the two parallel sides. Well, this side right here is parallel to that side right there. And because those two sides are parallel, these are considered our bases. Okay, so this number here obviously is my height. So the formula for a trapezoid is area equals 1/2 times the height times, and they sometimes say base 1 plus base 2. And the reason why they do that is because they want us to know that there are two lines. It doesn't matter which one is base 1 or base 2. So let me show you how we'll do this. So we have the formula written down. We'll say 1/2. The height we know is the line here that makes the perpendicular from one base to the next, and that's 5. And then in parentheses here, we have to add the two bases together. Well, the numbers we highlighted were 4 and 9. And it doesn't matter if we put the 9 first or the 4 first, because we know that according to order of operations, we're going to add those two numbers together. Okay, so I'll kind of slow down a little bit so you can write all this down. So according to order of operations, we're going to add 4 plus 9. Well, that's 13. And then this is finished. So we'll copy everything else down here. 1/2 of 5. I don't think we could cut 5 in half very easily. So let's go ahead and underline this side first. And let's take 5 times 13. 5 times 13 is going to give us 65. And then we have to take 65 times 1/2. Well, let's go over here and let's just see. What is 65 divided by 2? Looks like it's 32 and 1/2. So the area of this trapezoid is 32 and 1/2 kilometers squared. A lot of steps that we have to do in order to find the area of a trapezoid. So because of that, we need to make sure that we write everything down and take our time. So let's go ahead and try one more trapezoid here before we move over to the kite. So get our highlighters out. Let's highlight our parallel lines. And once we do that, we know what our two bases are. If we can't remember what the formula is, we'll look right down here. And we're going to write it 1/2 times, what's it say? The height times base plus base. So we'll just say base plus base. All right, well, let's go ahead and substitute in. Looks like the height right here is 9. And it looks like my two bases are 5 and 12. So we'll put 5 plus 12. According to order of operations, we need to add those two together. 5 plus 12. 5 plus 12 is going to give me 17. So this is gone. And of course, we still have the 9. And we still have 1/2. Okay, well, half of 9, that doesn't work very easy. So let's say 9 times 17, I'm going to tell you, is 153 times a half. Well, that means I have to cut that in half. 153 cut in half. Some of you are a lot faster at me than I am at this. All right, let's see. 2 into 13 is 6. So it looks like it's 76 and 1/2. So my final answer is 76 and 1/2 inches squared. And we're going to circle that. All right, what I'd like for you to do is I would like for you to pause your video, and I want to see, and you may use a calculator for this if you need one. I want to see if you can solve A and B. So go ahead and pause your video. All right, so let's come back and see how you did. First thing I always do is I always highlight my parallel lines so that I know what my B's are going to be equal to. Okay, so the formula is 1/2 times my height times, I'm going to add my bases. All right, let's substitute in here. My height is 6. Let's see, I have a 5 and a 9, so let's put 5 plus 9. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, means I'm going to do parentheses first. 5 plus 9 is 14, so that's gone, and we will copy everything else down. This time I'm going to go ahead and multiply 1/2 of 6, that's 3. 3 times 14. 3 times 14 should be 42 feet squared. Now, if you did half of 14, you've got 7. 7 times 6 will still give you the same answer. So you could have multiplied anyway. All right, let's check my next one here. Highlight my parallel lines. My formula is 1/2 times the height times base plus base. Okay, let's see if you got this one. Let's see, the height was 5. My bases are 8 and 5/10 plus 11 and 5/10. Okay, well, let's add those two together first. Well, if you used a calculator, you probably found out that this actually equals 20. So that's gone, and we'll put everything else copied down. Half of 5, that doesn't work, so I'm going to take half of 20. That's 10. And 10 times 5 is 50 meters squared. And there's our final answer. All right, so we're going to go ahead and flip over and look at a couple more trapezoid problems here. let's look at these last two we have right here, number 3 and number 4. Now, of course, we always take our highlighter and we have to highlight our parallel lines. Well, this line here is parallel to this line, and this line is parallel to that line. So now I can put my highlighter up. Let's see if we can remember the formula. Oh, I remember it. 1/2 times the height times base plus base. Well, if you notice, this trapezoid is turned sideways. The highlighted are my bases, which means this number right here, this has to be my height. If I turn my paper this way, now I have a height. All right, so let's go ahead and substitute. For my height is 5. My bases are my 2 highlighted numbers, 4 and 8, or 8 and 4, whichever way you want to put them. Oops, let me put this down here. According to order of operations, we're going to do our parentheses first. That gives me 12. And then we copy everything else down. 1/2 times 5 times 12. I don't want to do half of 5. How about half of 12? Half of 12 is 6, so that's gone. 6 times 5 would be an answer of 30 millimeters squared. All right, let's look at the last one here. Last one, we're going to do the formula 1/2 times the height times, and we're going to add our bases together. Okay, we are going to substitute in. The height is the line here between my 2 bases, which is 6. Let's see, my numbers we highlighted were 7 and 7/10. And we have 2 and 3/10. According to order of operations, we have to add those parentheses together. Okay, and if I add those two together correctly, I think that's going to be 10. So that's gone. Copy everything else down. Which two should we multiply first? I'm going to go ahead and just multiply these two together first. 1/2 of 6 is 3. That's done. 3 times 10. That's 30 inches squared. All right. The rest of these we will probably look at maybe another time, or we may not eventually get to them. How you would solve something like this is just like what we did earlier with the golf course fairway. We would draw a line here, and we'd find the area of this shape and the area of this shape and add them together. Same thing down here. You're going to find the area. You're going to cut some of these things into shapes. But we're going to go ahead and put that off to the side. You can go ahead and put this inside your math folder.